What's up, friends? Welcome to my channel where we're doing music covers, original music, album reviews, song reviews, reactions, tier lists, whatever the day calls for. If you like what you see here, please subscribe to the channel. If you have content on here, I'll subscribe to you as well. I am all about supporting up-and-comers on here. The band we are checking out today is a band I really only know about because of what I would consider the best podcast on the internet. I'm saying it. The Garza Podcast. Chris Garza is the founding member of Suicide Silence, and he was always kind of looked at as the quiet guy of the band. And if somebody told me 10 years ago that one of the best music podcasts or podcasts in general that would ever come out on the internet was going to be done by Chris Garza, I wouldn't have believed you. And it's not because of underestimating him or anything like that. I just didn't think he was going to be so damn good at this. I didn't think anyone would be as good at it. I mean, his podcast is incredible. And one of the things I like about his podcast, aside from the fact that even when who he has on each Monday, because he does a new episode every Monday, even if it's a band I've never heard of, the discussions are always so good, and he's such a good podcast host, knows when to put his input on stuff and let the band talk. Like, he's just so fucking good at it, man. But he had these guys on, Koyo. And this is my first introduction to even knowing who these guys are. And this is definitely not the first time I've been introduced to something that would go on to be one of my favorite bands through this podcast. I found out about Within Destruction because he had them on. Really good band. I found out about Slay Squad because he had them on. A really good band where, I don't know where it stands right now, but I did a guitar bass kind of cover for the last song that they put out called Tote. And as of now, I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I have the only Slay Squad cover on YouTube. I just like them and the song so much that I just had to take a crack at something that they did. And their new song Tote is a banger. They had these guys on Koyo, and I heard them talking about No Pressure and The Story So Far, like Parker Cannon related projects that I love, as The Story So Far is one of my favorite bands. And where the Garza Podcast went beyond just giving me an entertaining segment of interactions between musicians and talking about the music scene and stuff, and it turned into Garza's podcast actually kind of doing me a favor, is when he had on Nathan from the band Ayatera, a band I had no idea about until he had them on. 311 is my favorite band of all time, and I don't ever want them to stop. But if they ever did stop because age gets the best of all of us, Nathan and his band are the ones that I think would carry the torch, even though, 311 do a lot of things that are outside of the reggae spectrum entirely. That is a crucial aspect to their sound, whereas you can tell Nathan came from metal in the way that he plays and even writes some of his songs, but all of their songs are built under a reggae framework. But I gotta say, when you're almost 39 years old and you've played in bands and been in the music scene and shit like that, like, it really takes something special to make you get almost obsessed with a band and go down a rabbit hole. And I did that with Ayatera. I'm still doing that with Ayatera. I already have like a full guitar cover up on my channel and a short up on my channel. That band has brought so much calm into my life when things get really shitty. Like, they're so good. And I'm going to try to tear away from Ayatera here and talk about the band we're about to cover here today, because I feel like I'm kind of going on a tangent here. But long story short, the Garza Podcast, why I know about this band. They just released a new album called Would You Miss It? I think it was on Friday. And there's also a new music video for the closing song. And I love when that happens, because the way I like to do my reaction videos, when I have the time to do them this way, when doing a full album review, is to do a real-time reaction to one of the songs. And I usually prefer it to be the closer. I just think that when you analyze a project and almost give it a rating, and the closer is what makes or breaks it for you, or could move the rating up, move the rating down. I just like doing it that way, and it's something to experience with the people that are so kind enough to watch this video. This new Koyo album is one of those albums where I would say you should never review an album, do an official album review of something when you've only heard it once. You should listen to it at least 3 or 4 times, which I always do. When I first heard this album as a whole, I was a bit lukewarm to it. I'm not going to lie. I didn't want to see too many comments on this album, but I saw a couple before I listened to this, and it was from actually fans of the band saying that they found this new album, Would You Miss It, to be rather average. There are 3 songs that I found to be really great on this album. Let's get into the track by track. I was definitely lukewarm to the opener. The climax of the song is kind of boring. You're going to hear me say this a lot in the review. It struggles to find an identity outside of the sound of the story so far. The next song, You're on the List. That one was a lot better, I thought. I put that one in the good category, and I feel like it highlighted how good the guitarist that throws some vocals in here and there sounds. They have a really cool vocal interplay in the chorus. These pop punk music videos where you're in a pizza shop or something, I mean, I get it. We're bringing it back. It's getting a little bit played out. And maybe they realize that because instead of a pizza shop, we want to do a pasta shop here. Number 3, Life's a Pill. I don't know if this was the big single off this album, but it is a single off this album, and it should be the big single off this album. It's got the album's strongest hook. This is the first song I'm hearing on this album where it doesn't sound like they're trying to copy somebody else. This doesn't sound like The Story So Far or anything like that. Like, it does sound like the genre it's niched into, but it sounds like Koyo. It sounds like them. So I liked it for that reason. The hook is good. Pretty much everything about this song is just really well written. And number 4, I Might Not. It has parts that I really liked, parts that I didn't like that much. Again, they're wearing that Story So Far influence on the sleeve, almost to a fault. Number 5, Flatline Afternoon. This is the most boring song on the album, the lowest point of the album. Some of these features, I don't even really dislike them as vocalists by any means. But what they bring to these songs is really just kind of nothing. Number 6, Anthem. The length of this song did it a huge favor. It's written for a live setting. I thought this one was pretty good. Okay, let's get to another highlight of this album called Sayonara Motel. The opening groove reminds me a lot of the drum chops on the 3rd self-titled Story So Far album. That is the album where I feel like the Story So Far's drummer, Ryan Torf, really showed off his chops more than any other album, you know? And it's like, this song is great, but once again, I'm just still thinking of another band. The same other band. But the lyrics are really good on this one. I'm kind of on abrupt endings of songs. It depends on how it works within the context of the song, and I think on this one, the abrupt ending worked really well. This is a top track. Now we're going to get into another track called Message Like a Bomb. This song featured a pretty infamous vocalist here, Daryl Palumbo from Glassjaw. And I listened to this song at least 3 times before I made any commentary on it or took any notes on it, because I couldn't find where he was in the song. Like, the way the vocals are mixed, there's really nothing here that makes him stand out. And when I read the lyrics of this song and, you know, with the title of this song, I was like, man, are they going to like try to go heavy here? Because I don't know if I want to hear this particular band try to do post-hardcore or metalcore or get heavier. They didn't do that, but this still ended up being one of the lower points of the album for me. But it picks right back up. Another great song, What's Left to Say. There's a very infamous vocalist featuring on this song, vocalist of the movie Life. I'm not very familiar with the movie Life. I saw them live in 2003 with The Used. That's all I can really say. I mean, I was in fucking high school back then, but his feature in this song didn't fit. This is something that I find myself at odds with when listening to this album. When you have these really well-written songs, it's like you kind of want to hate it because it sounds so much like another band, but part of you wants to like it because it sounds like another band that you really like, and the songs are being written pretty well. Number 10, Postcards. This song, again, I mean, it's pleasing to the ear, but whether or not it's on the strength of nostalgic reasons or whether it's on the strength of the band themselves, I got to listen to it more to tell. But yeah, I'm going to rate this album at this point at a 6.7 out of 10. I think these guys have the potential to create a really, really good album that has a stamp on the scene. But this one is not it. This one's not it. This band has an identity crisis. I'm thinking of other bands way too often when I listen to these songs. I've listened to these songs several times before doing this review, and there's really only 3 or 4 that have grown on me. Life's a Pill is probably the only song on this entire album where I wasn't reminded of another band. But yeah, let's see how we're closing this thing out. Here is Koyo with their brand new music video for Crushed. Let's get into it. Definitely mirrored the accuracy of a lot of lesser known either metal or pop punk shows. It ended up being just a bunch of dudes making asses out of themselves and having fun together and one cute girl showing up. It hits close to home. I'm giving the video and the song a 6.8, and I'm giving this album a 6.8. You know, it's like I feel like this band is on the verge of something, but it's going to take finding their own identity. Again, the entire time I was listening to this, it was just the story so far vibes. And that's the thing, too. It's not even like I'm being reminded of all these different pop punk bands and getting all this nostalgia from like all these different outlets. It's really just the one. The story so far. I don't remember much about this song. I don't. But when I hear that this band has done something else, I'll definitely check it out. I'm not hating. I'm actually kind of feeling like I agree with some of the comments that I read from fans of this band about this album, in that it is very average. That's exactly what this is. It's very average. You know, the average rating would be a 5 out of 10, smack down the middle, but I'm giving it a 6.8 because I feel like there are certain tracks on here that really carry this album, like Life's a Pill, Sayonara Motel, and What's Left to Say. You're on the List, having that really cool vocalist interplay. The guitarist doing vocals is something I'd like to hear a lot more of from them moving forward. So yeah, I'm standing by that rating. 6.8. This album is slightly above average. And I think it's pretty good, but they could do better. That's all I got to say about this one, guys. Until next time, thanks for watching.